Welcome to the Rest in Peace podcast, where we talk about all the creative things. I'm Angie, and this is my lovely co host, Bailey.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good.
Good. So, what are we talking about today, Bailey?
All right, so we are talking about failures today,
Okay.
and I have given a presentation about how to fail at my work before, and the biggest thing is you don't. As long as you keep trying, you can keep going and not fail. So we're going to break that down a little bit and talk about what failure means to us, and maybe some of our failures that we can discuss, and yeah, we'll go from there. Um, the biggest thing to remember though is that um, no one is a failure. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So like, um, if you're like sitting here and you're like, yeah, I've definitely failed at something, and I definitely like, I'm I that was a big failure of my life, or like that I've done a failure, it's not true because you're not a failure. Because honestly, it's just living up to the expectations of society or your expectations of success that kind of define what a failure is to me.
Right.
So, what do you think? What do you think
Uh,
about failure?
yeah, I don't think failure is. I just say it's learning. It's a lesson to learn.
Yeah.
The only thing that I would um, maybe put an asterisk on would be uh, if you don't even try.
All right. All
So
right.
like, if you're not trying, then that would be probably the only time I would say, "Okay, you're failing because you haven't even tried to do something," but, like, as long as you're trying and if you don't get to where you wanna be, I don't consider that a failure. I just think that's another lesson along the journey of whatever it
Agreed.
is you're trying to learn, but if you don't even start it, then I would say that would be as close to maybe as a failure
Yeah,
as you could get to,
I
I would say.
totally agree with that.
Yeah.
I think too, like they're kind of like regrets. Like some people
Yeah.
have them and some people don't really believe in them. I don't really believe in regrets either.
Yeah.
The same way I don't believe in failure. Like I think it's just exactly if you keep trying and if you keep going, you're not you're moving forward. So that's progress, right?
Yeah.
So like that's okay, so we're done, right? That's it.
Well, first of all, when you originally talked about this idea and you said you gave a presentation on it, I didn't realize you actually gave a presentation on it. Like, you actually made a presentation on failure.
I did. I did.
So did you
Yeah.
like research all that? Like,
I
did you go through
did.
studies and stuff? And
Yeah, I did. I don't remember them now, of course, of
yeah,
course, like, right on the spot.
that's fine.
Um
You know, I'm not looking for you to. I'm not fact checking you. I don't need you to present me a list of your references and your bibliography of everything that
Wouldn't that
you
be
pulled up.
great if I was just like, "Well,
You're
yeah,
like, here they are.
I guess some podcasts do that." I don't know, not us,
Not us.
not
No,
us.
no. You just got to take us for a fact that
For a
what we
fact.
said is true and what we've figured out.
Yeah, so I researched some quotes and things like that and some studies about how to fail.
Mhm.
And you know, it's really just that you do it gracefully, that you learn from what your mistakes are
Yeah.
and make sure that you don't repeat them.
Yeah.
Um you definitely should just keep trying, and as long as you again keep going, you don't
Mhm.
necessarily fail as the uh definition goes kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I gave a presentation about this and, I can't remember anything about it now because it's
Thankfully, you don't
it
have to. You're not doing
I
the
don't have
presentation
to.
yet.
No, it's done.
Yeah.
But, I do think that it's interesting to think about your life in that context of, like, how you fail and how you kind of get it back up,
Yeah.
and kickstart yourself again.
Yeah.
So do you have any like examples of that, Angie? Like in your life where you've like been kicked and when you're down and you've gotten back up?
Yeah. I mean, I way too many to list. That's I feel like most people's life is a series of being kicked down and trying to find a way to get back up from it.
Yes.
I think you just need to find ways to do that. Um, And that's gonna be different, I think, for everybody. Like, for me, most of the time, whenever I feel like I'm down, my sheer stubbornness is the thing that really pulls me out of it.
Interesting. Can you tell me more
Um,
about that?
yeah, so just I'm stubborn. Listen, I'm a Taurus, okay? I come by it naturally.
Ah,
So I'm the bull and I like to just do things and take action and be stubborn. And there'll be times where I won't. Like I'll be having my little pity party or whatever for myself. But usually the thing that gets me out of it is just that whatever it is that I'm trying to achieve, I'm just stubborn enough that I just pull myself up and do it. That's really the like where it starts from, I would say for me. What about
yeah.
you?
That's a really good point. Like the fact that you are stubborn and that you are not going to say no, like take no for an answer.
No,
For me, I'm a Libra, so I am balanced and indecisive and a lot of other things.
an air
So
sign being indecisive, please.
what? I know.
Spend a whole podcast talking about horoscopes.
I
Seriously.
know, we really could,
Yeah.
honestly. And why we work together because we
Hmm.
are, a little bit opposite. I definitely am not stubborn. I will give up anytime, anywhere. So I think for me, I think it's just um maybe I am a little stubborn. I like proving people wrong, I think.
Yeah.
I like proving myself wrong. Um I don't we talked about this before. We don't necessarily listen to other people or let other
No.
people tell us what to do.
Yeah.
So, I think that's a little bit where that comes in, where you
Hmm.
get down and then you kind of tell yourself that that's not the end.
Yeah.
Um, I think for me, like my biggest failure in life has been not even creatively, like just but like Uh, this is vulnerable.
Are you ready?
We're ready. All right, we're getting into it. Um, I think like socially, I've been like a very closeted person, and it's only in recent years that I've like been trying to um be a more of an open book.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with being like private, I feel like.
Yeah.
But there is something wrong with like not letting people get to know you, I think.
Hmm.
So creatively, I think my biggest failure is my writing, even though it's my biggest success, at the same time.
Yeah.
So Angie's snorting about that because
Yeah.
you want to
Because
say more?
because how is it both?
It because it can be both because I haven't tried and I haven't gone anywhere with it, so it's still in
Yeah.
a liminal space kind of
Okay.
thing.
Gotcha.
So I haven't tried and I haven't failed yet. So, yeah,
Isn't not trying failing though? Did we not
oh
circle to that?
yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Busted.
totally, totally.
But you have
Um,
tried. You've just stopped trying. You haven't been
yeah,
writing more recently.
right,
Right.
right. Like I stop and start a lot, and I don't. Mm, do I consider that a failure? I do. I feel like that's a failure of mine,
Yeah.
to not keep going, you know what I mean? Like, when I'm
Yeah.
in the mood to keep going,
Hmm.
um, because the fact of the matter is I could probably sit down and bang out a lot of words really quickly. I'm a fast writer. I
Yeah.
when I see it in my head, I can really go for it, but for real recently, I don't know. Just failure kind of gets in my way a little bit that I will fail, that I will continue to not try,
Yeah.
you know?
So when you did your research on your presentation for failure, what did they say? Did they give you ideas on how to not fail?
Yeah, they did. I mean,
How do you not fail? I guess that's
ooh,
what it comes down to.
yeah, good question. I like this question. Um, I don't know. Um, Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, I don't know how you not fail. You
Well, I
just
don't
don't
think.
stop, right?
Well, that's the thing is like again,
I know we've
I
like
don't.
twisted ourselves into like
Yeah,
a
like
little bit of a mind
I
maze.
don't think that like. I guess it depends on what you consider failure.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah,
is it something that's like you fail so completely that you can't continue on from that point, or is it that I didn't get what I wanted and I have to keep trying?
well, that's the thing. I think we have these expectations of success and um of what we want the end result to be, and
Yeah,
that won't necessarily come out in the wash all
right.
the time. Um,
Or in the timing we want.
right. Right.
Because that's the thing
So
is that, like, yeah, like, there are obviously times when failure is a thing. Like, you write a test and you fail that test, that's obviously,
true.
but, like, on the grand scheme of things, like, are you failing forever, or is that it just a a stop in the road?
Right.
You know what I mean?
I really think of it as a redirection kind of
Yeah.
things. That like if you pull that arrow back, right? And you let it fly and it
Mhm.
doesn't go where you want to go, like you have to redirect your aim, right? So
Yeah.
you have to come back and say, "Hey, this is where I want to go. This is what I want to do and let's fix it," kind of thing. And I
Yeah.
think that's how not to fail is by not, you know,
Stopping.
letting yourself exactly.
Okay, so then we're back on track.
Yeah, okay, okay, got
So,
this.
you only fail when you misstep and then you don't keep trying.
And then you keep trying, right, and you don't keep going.
So, as long as you keep going, it's not a complete failure then.
Right,
It's
but, like
some other thing,
right. But, like, what does
like
a
learning.
misstep look like? You know, like, that's a
Well,
good
yeah.
question.
Like, I think that yeah, that would be, I would say, different depending on what it is that you're trying to achieve,
Right,
and it would probably be different for every person too, because, like, there are some, again, there's some very concrete failures, like, as in, like, I wrote a test and I didn't pass because I didn't get as many answers correct, whatever. That's, like, more defined in a box, but, like, if you're trying to, like, for us, become a published author, like, just because you're not now, that doesn't mean that you're a failure. It just means you haven't got there yet. You know what I mean? And so I guess in that case, you would have to be fairly exhaustive. Like, I've queried every agent, and every agent has said no in the entire world. Like, a complete failure on that would be so huge that you probably would never actually give it. You'd probably give up before you actually failed. In that sense, would you then become the failure?
wow, this is tricky. No, I don't think you become a failure at ever. I because you did something, you accomplished something, right? Like,
Yeah.
you
So
went
it's
out
just
there and
defining it.
yeah, it's just redefining
Yeah.
exactly how
Yeah.
you think of failure and how you think of, um, success too.
Yeah.
Like, you know, because
Yeah.
maybe that huge, goal that you set out for yourself isn't exactly what you wanted anymore,
Yeah.
and you make it smaller or you make it bigger or like you redefine what you're aiming for, I think is
Yeah.
really important.
So I think that's when it literally just keeps coming back to the fact that if you want to fail, then do nothing.
Right. Right.
Because as long as you're doing something, you're not failing. You're just on another step towards that end goal.
Yes.
It's just another step in the journey. So as long as you have forward momentum in some capacity, you're not failing, even if you don't necessarily hit that target the first time or the second time or whatever many times. As long as you keep trying, I don't think that's a failure.
Right.
But if you stop, whatever it is, then but I still only think that you really get to, as an individual, only gets to define what's a failure.
Yeah, I don't think there is any, like, societal definition of a failure, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
um, even people that, like, consider themselves, like, lose their jobs or, like,
Yeah.
like, do something really, like, catastrophic that they think is, like, the world ending
Yeah.
is not necessarily, like, the end of the world for everyone
Right.
else, right? It's just a
Right.
redirection. Um,
Exactly. So it's kind
that's
of
like
like
yeah.
doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist. So, like, it's kinda like that thing of, like, what would you do if you knew you could not fail? You know,
Right.
and if you knew you had to succeed and
Yeah.
everything was gonna work out, like, what would you do?
Yeah.
So, it's answering that question for yourself too, like, creatively.
Right. Which is really just getting your head out of the failure space, really, because all the things that you would, so okay, here's, now we're really getting big. If you could do whatever you want to do and you knew you wouldn't fail, it's not really any different than actually trying to succeed ever anyways. So the whole
Mhm.
principles of every step along the way, so let's say, okay, because you can't, like, there's no measurable target on that, like, you know what I
Right.
mean, like, so if you say, okay, if I would do what would I do if I knew I wouldn't fail, is the exact same steps you would take even if you didn't know if you would.
Exactly.
So it's really just removing that that like part of your brain that goes, "Hey, you might fail," and you're just being like, "Well, no, I'm not." So it's almost like, yeah, you're just removing that block.
Yeah. And honestly, that's like a whole nother thing that we can talk about that the fact that we all have like this voice in our head that like
Yeah.
doesn't necessarily say what we want them to say all the time
Yeah.
and that critiques us. It usually sounds like someone, in our life that has critiqued us before. So we kind
Yeah.
of adopt that voice. But yeah, like it's really just turning off that negative self-talk
Yeah.
and realizing that whatever you do, you can succeed.
I don't think you can turn it off. I don't think you'll ever turn it off. I think you have to just find a way to push past it. I think you have to just acknowledge that
Mm,
it's there and just go, "Okay, thanks for your opinion. I'm going to keep doing it anyways." Because if you really look at what it is, it's now we're getting into super psychology stuff,
yes,
but
let's do it.
the negative self-talk is usually your ego talking that is related to society's expectations.
Right.
So it's finding you're never going to lose that if you know, because nobody ever loses that part of who they are because you're basing your personality on society and it reflects back to you. So I don't think you'll ever lose that. You just have to acknowledge that it's there. Some people literally thank it. Thank you for trying to keep me safe. I'm going to keep doing it anyways. Because I think it's tied into ego and fear and what
Yes.
society is going to think back to you. So even the most confident person who believes in themselves will still have that. They just find a way to not let it stop them.
So that was my next point. Don't you think like what happens when your ego is trying to protect you? Like what do you think about that? Like what
I think that never goes away. I really
Okay.
feel like it's tied in, it's a survival instinct, right? Because like
Right.
everything that we are afraid of at some point was a legit fear to some extent. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Because you have self-preservation. Every human being is designed to preserve itself.
Right.
So, but the problem is that our bodies and our minds are not super great at knowing what's an actual threat and what isn't because we deem all threats the same. And especially in a society now where we don't have a whole lot of most people don't have a whole lot of real life threats on the daily. Like we're
Right.
not running away from tigers, you know, or
We're not
like
we're not hunting and gathering anymore, which
no,
is
exactly. But those that you don't get rid of that. So your body and your mind find ways to trigger yourself to think that you are in that fight or flight mode all the time. And that's why things seem a lot bigger than they
bigger
actually
than
are
they
a
are.
lot of time. Right. So then it's like it can't tell the difference. It just knows it's a response, physiological response to stress, and they think that's danger, and danger is get away from it as quickly as possible. But
Right.
stress isn't always bad, but your body can't tell that, right?
Ooh, and now we're getting into some cool psychological things. Yes,
Yeah.
stress is not always bad. It
No.
actually helps us move forward,
Yes.
honestly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so that's the thing. So I think what happens is that we have this like innate fear that's there to keep us safe, but it's not always logical or necessary anymore. So I think acknowledging that it's there and not trying to like bypass it, you'll never bypass it. I think, well, sorry. I don't think you'll stop it. I think you can bypass it. Like as
Okay.
in like
Circumvent it.
great. Yeah, exactly. Great for keeping me safe, but I appreciate that, but I'm going to like keep going anyways because most change is built from uncomfortable stress and fear.
See, all right. And here's watch us go. I kind of disagree. I think like you can turn it off at some point. Like I think you can
Okay.
thank it so much
Yeah.
that it just turns off. You know what I mean? Like and it's or it doesn't even begin. You know what I mean? But maybe
Okay.
that's my hang up. Like I'm coming to
You're waiting
terms
for
with
it to be
something.
off. Yeah.
Yeah, and not just silent. Or I mean not just quieter.
Yeah.
Just like I'm waiting for it to turn off completely and then I keep going.
Yeah.
But you're saying
Won't.
it won't. You have to live with it and next to it and
Yeah.
hug it. And you have to hug it out with your inner critic.
Yeah, it's like it's I mean, and like there's tons of studies and books that are some different facet of this principle is whether or not you can shut any negative, what we appear to be negative thought or feeling down, or if you can just accept it for what it is and just keep moving forward. And
Right.
so once you kind of figure that part out, I think that's the key to unlocking to be able to move forward, because you're not trying to force something that's natural. Like you're never going to stop the weather from
Weathering.
raining, or yeah, you know what I mean? Like you can't force that, but you can acknowledge what it is and then just move around it. And so I think that's like, if you're trying to stop it altogether, that's the losing battle, in my
Huh.
opinion.
That's so interesting. I, like, didn't even realize that I thought about this, like, before, but you're
Yeah.
right. I held this belief that I would turn it off at some point, and
Yeah.
it would go away, and I would conquer it, you know?
Yeah.
But it's not really like that. It's, like, something that you have to, like, kind of, navigate around
Yeah.
and keep going to move forward. And as a disclaimer, I think too, you don't necessarily always have to be moving forward. I think that's another thing that we can cover in our travels and our journeys is that rest is
Mhm.
so important too.
But it's
Um,
like active rest. There's a difference, I
active
think.
rest. Ah, okay. Tell me more about that.
Okay, so there, jeez, there's a I read this quote from somewhere that, and I don't know how true this is, so disclaimer, but that um, even when you're resting, you are actually doing more work than when you're working,
What?
because you have, your brain has to have that, what we consider downtime, but in the back of our mind, because we only use like what, 10% of our brain power or whatever.
Right.
Like when you are like, your conscious active part of your brain is in rest, you're allowing the space for your unconscious to keep moving. So it's important to have that rest time with the intention that you are pausing to be able to keep moving forward. So there's a difference between like avoidance and rest. And I think that's where things get, like, where you really have to fine tune and to find out your motivation for what it is that we're doing. Because there is a very, in my opinion, a very distinct difference between like, oh, I'm just resting, but it's like really you're just avoiding the hard thing, as opposed to active resting as a point. Like I'm actively resting so that once I'm done that, I can actually continue to move forward. And moving forward doesn't have to be leaps and bounds. It can be like inching. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't
Oh
have to be
yeah.
significant, but I think that it's the way we approach rest that will define whether or not it's still, you can still consider it for progression.
Ugh. Well, I didn't expect it to get, like, called out so hard on this podcast, but,
Listen, I'm
like,
not
here we
calling you out.
are.
I'm just saying,
Oh,
I'm
no,
just saying that,
I feel seen. Like, I feel
yeah.
very seen right now that, like, and I'm sure our listeners do too, that, like, the fact that we are resting, but we're not really resting, right?
Yeah.
You're not in rest mode. You're, like, thinking you're, like, sitting there even if you're sitting still, you're
Yeah.
thinking of all the things you should be doing. All those
Yeah.
shoulds come up. Like, "Oh, I should be doing the dishes. I should be doing laundry, blah, blah, blah." And it's
Mhm.
like, that's that's not rest. That's
No.
just sitting, you know? Like,
Yeah. Yeah. And the thing
so
is, I'm just as guilty about that, because
oh, we're
well,
humans.
we're exactly like,
Yeah.
and we are hardwired for avoidance of things that are uncomfortable or difficult or whatever. Like we're hardwired for that. That's just the way it is. So I think once you realize that, and then you make the intention to be like, hey, I'm going to actively rest, and this is what it looks like. If you have to define it until you get better at it, I think that's a good idea.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
define what it is. Like, okay, this is what I'm going to actively do to rest, and this is what falls in the parameters of rest. And once I'm finished doing whatever that is, then I'm going to keep moving forward. But like, I think that if someone is already struggling with forward momentum, having
Yes.
an open-ended I'm resting blanket is dangerous, because then it goes from resting to avoidance, and then it just doesn't go anywhere.
Right, and then you don't do the hard thing at all, you know? I
And you
think
never
that's
feel rested, because you're
right,
not, you're sitting there being like, I should do that, I should be doing that, and you feel guilty, because
right,
guilt is tied in with that, right? Because
right.
now it's like you're not, it's not, you're looking at it from a point of avoidance, as a point of like active rest, so that I can continue to move forward on my journey, as you know what I mean? So there's a difference. But I don't think a lot of us realize that, because we don't probably spend as much time in their heads as like I do. Or maybe they do. But
I mean,
like,
maybe they do. I mean,
yeah.
you're listening to this, so, like, welcome to the inside of our heads, like, we
Yes.
this is what we do. Um, Yeah, I think that's a really good point, and I think,
Yeah.
like, doing the hard thing is so important,
Mhm.
um, and looking at rest, like, it's it's yours, like,
Yeah.
for me, like, I go to a bookstore to rest
Yeah.
and to recharge and
Yeah.
to be within, myself and to think, kind of that way, so that looks very much like going out, driving my
Mhm.
car, like, going to the store, and
Yeah.
it looks doesn't look like rest. But for me, it is very much a decompression technique.
Yeah.
So I think that's also important to say too, that
Mhm.
it may look like you're taking yourself out on a date or
Mhm.
you're I don't know, you're in the bathtub. I don't know. I don't know. You do you.
It
But
doesn't
like,
matter. It's anything that will make you feel recharged
yes, exactly.
so that
And
you're
that
active. You can move actively forward.
right, and that could literally be the thing that you do creatively,
Yeah.
that could also be writing, it could also be journaling, it could be, making art or
Mhm.
painting or anything like that. It could be the thing that you're avoiding.
Yeah.
So it is important to kind of think about it at first. I think you're right. That you do need to define the
Mhm.
parameters of rest and what that looks like to you
Yeah.
before you go and decide that you're going to rest.
Mhm.
Because you're right. It can very quickly look like avoidance,
Yeah.
procrastination, like doing something
Yeah.
else completely.
Yeah.
Um, so we have 4 minutes left
Yeah.
after all of that. And
That heavy failure. Yeah, we went deep today.
we went deep today. Like,
That's
it's
fine.
all right.
It's all good. It's all good because that's the thing is that like these are the conversations that I think people need to have so that they can, like you said, be seen and understand where they fit on that
Continuum.
spectrum. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. And I think also for me, like, just being talking about this, like, helps me so much, like,
Hmm.
just from a point of, like, being okay with failure and being okay with the
Hmm.
fact that I'm not failing and that I'm
Yeah.
not, like, I'm not stopping, so I'm not failing kind of
Right.
thing. But also, like, what weirds me out is that, like, we did not script this
No.
at all. Like, this is not a scripted podcast, and,
No.
we just kind of, like, pulled big thoughts out of our heads, so, like,
Yep.
that was kind of cool,
Yeah.
even though we're super tired and
That's
and
okay.
it's it's fine.
Yeah, it's
Also,
fine.
we need to rest, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, so
Yeah.
remember to rest and
Yeah.
remember to, that you're not a failure and that you have no regrets, and,
Yeah.
YOLO, I think, is what we wanna say
Yeah.
for our eulogy today.
Yes. Yeah. Honestly, like circling it and tying it all back together, pausing, resting is not a failure. You just need to know what your intention is and set that boundary early so that you realize, look at I maybe I went out and tried to do something and it didn't work out the way I thought. You don't have to stop altogether. You can take a pause, you can rest and then try again in a different way.
Yep,
Take what you've learned from it and then move forward. But again, like don't stop
don't
because
stop
that's
because
not
it
good.
turns into avoidance and it turns into other things. Yeah.
Unless you realize that it's not the thing you no longer want, and that's totally
Oh,
okay too.
yeah, that's totally fine, but don't
Mhm.
stop because you gotta know. That's
Right.
not when you stop. It's
Know the
because
difference.
you decide that you
Yes.
wanna stop, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. And that could be
Um,
a whole podcast on its own is knowing when to stop something and when you just need a break because
yes,
I'm really bad for knowing that. Like I have been like, this isn't working, so I'm obviously stopping. I don't like it anymore. But that's actually just me not realizing that I just need a break. I just need to rest,
right,
like
right.
deep rest, because I'm a very action person. So I'm always moving forward and I'm not great at the small rests in between.
There's that Taurus
Yeah.
again. There she is.
Just a little bit. Yeah. So,
Whereas I feel like I could rest all the time. I do too much resting, I think, and then
yeah.
I start avoiding things and procrastinating, and that could be a whole another podcast. How do you
Yeah.
know what's procrastination, and how do you get through that?
Yeah.
But yeah, these are all awesome topics and subjects that we will cover hopefully in the future.
Yep.
But we're here for you. We are on Spotify, we are on Apple, we are on YouTube, and we're
Mhm.
here for all of your questions and your listening ears. So
Sure. on those non-listening years that you have
But
to.
yeah, just put on your listening hat and,
Yeah.
thanks for spending time with us. So I'm
Yeah.
Bailey.
I'm Angie.
It's nice to see you, and, we'll be back.